Hello, this is Marshall Zurkov, and here we are together again on YouTube. Got another holster going here. It's mostly roughly cut out. And I've got my clamps and shoe glue here. I've scored the inside. We should have a good contact surface on the inside, just to help adhere better. Put a little bit on each side and then press it together, hold it together with the clamps, and then I guess when I get that done here in a few minutes, I will come back and just show and leave it sit overnight. Probably not necessary to be overnight, but get a good hold and get it good and dry in there. And then once I do that, I will be able to mark out the stitch lines on the outside and then get ready to stitch it all together. So this is for a full size 1911, and this is the one that I'm using. It's actually the very first one that I ever had, long time ago, and one of my favorites. A guy down in, I think it was Joplin, Missouri, makes these grips. When I was in Kansas, I went to a gun show and he was there. I got one of his cards on his site and picked out some grips, and this green synthetic whatever material I thought was pretty cool with the black in it, so it goes pretty well. So I'll be right back. Alright, I got both sides with some shoe glue on, and I'm going to hurry up and stick it together and then get it clamped up and be right back again. Alright, obviously it's all close-pinned up, but I got the heavy clamps on it as well. So hopefully it'll be a good solid connection with the glue. Good mold, I guess. And then tomorrow I'll take it off, get the edges shored up, and then mark it and prepare it for stitching. Alright, got the next holster going. My mistake I made when I was supposed to do the left-handed one first, and I kind of didn't. I did get everything punched out with the stitch hole punchers here, and I'll be just taking them with me to work today if there's some downtime, and stitch it up. So more when I'm done with that, and then after that is forming. So I'll have to wrap up my 1911 and get these holsters wet and get it going. Alright, I've got the water just a little bit warm. I'm going to wet the holster, and then I have the pistol all taped up here with the trigger guard open. On the last one that I did, the saran wrap was covering it, so it didn't get as good a mold as I wanted with the resistance underneath inside the holster from all the saran wrap and the tape that I had taped over the trigger guard. I've got it's kind of straight. I'll try to straighten it out just a little bit more and make sure it's even on the seams and stuff when I put it in, but this is going to be the channel for the front sight when it ends up being molded. So up on the top here is going to be a little bit wide, so the front sight will go in and out without catching or binding or anything inside the holster. Then I do have the food saver out, and I'm going to put it back in the plastic and use the suction again to try to help mold everything. Then I'll use the tools to get everything a bit more precise in the mold and shape around the curves and shapes around the pistol, the frame, and the slide. Alright, so now I've got it vacuum packed and sealed here. I'm going to use the bone tool and then anything else that I can get a hold of that should help find all the creases and stuff. We can already see that the suction from the mold is already starting to work just a little bit for us here. Got a couple lines running in there, and you can see the texture of the bag. Usually that's on the inside. I actually turned the bag inside out, so this time there won't be, or theoretically shouldn't be, any texture on the leather of the holster like there was on the last one that I made. Maybe these lines from the creases of the bag might show up, but I'm not too worried about that. It's an inside the waistband holster. I mean, most people might not care about a little couple marks on there when it's not even visible on the outside. Or if it wasn't outside the waistband holster, who knows what you can bump it up on and scuff it in or whatever. But coming along, slow but sure. I think I'll probably leave this in here during the day, and then tonight probably take it out. I made the holster just a little bit longer so it would fold over the end just a little bit. I'll show more detail and stuff. I mean, we can already see that the suction has worked here on the magazine, the ejection port. The bag didn't get sucked too far up the empty magazine housing like it did when I did the Glock holster inside one of these bags. But I did use the moist setting, so we'll see if it doesn't seem to really have done anything much different. Maybe not quite as much suction, but we'll be back when we got some update for it. Alright, I got it cut out of the plastic, and the leather area where the contact cement was, the water didn't really soak in very much. It's been sitting all day inside the plastic, and even when I turned the bag inside out, I still got some of the texturing that we can see here, and it must have been from pressing it from the outside. The texture was on the outside. Now, it did make the bone tools slide just a little bit easier on the plastic. Really, you need a little bit of lubrication on it so it doesn't stretch it out too much from the outside. But it looks like we got some pretty good molding here. These points are going to be basically the retention when it is dry. Looks like I got right up around the magazine release. I'm gonna have to take everything off and check it out, but you can see a little bit of the plastic indentation from it, and well, I guess that's just how it's going to be using that method for now. We'll see if there's anything to improve on with it, but for now it looks pretty good. I already burnished the edges on this after I stitched it, but I'm gonna maybe let it dry a little bit first with the pistol still in it, and then take it out and let it dry all day. Tomorrow it should get pretty dried out, so when it gets dry, the next step comes up or whatever, we'll be back for more. Well, it's been a little bit of time. I've kind of been neglecting a little bit on showing some of the progress work for the holsters from where we last left off, but the stage is pretty much now complete. They're all formed. I've sealed the outside on both of them. I stained this one dark red. Both are for 1911 full size, and this is a right hand draw, and this is a left hand draw. And I also had a request from my friend who I made the holster for. They wanted a single magazine pouch, and it's just a generic size. I didn't really do a lot of forming around the edges of the magazine and stuff. I'm not sure in which direction they like the magazine to be facing while they carry it, so it just slides right in, and I just left enough room for either way, just to kind of make it a bit universal, depending on which way the round is pointing at the bottom of the magazine. But I just stitched a little flap on here for a 1.5 inch belt and shaped it. I cut out a small leather piece, which helped me maintain the size, so it's 1.5 inches high in this direction like this. So this one is almost complete. I'm just going to let it dry the rest of today, and then when I get home tonight, I will apply the finish on it, which is this satin sheen, and then it should look similar to this one here. So these holsters finally are done, and the only thing left, I have some clips. I'm going to figure out where I want to put my holes in the flat part of the holster here and put those clips in place and probably test it out and see how it's going to hold up. Should be fine. The clips are good. I know they're good clips. I did use 2 different colors of thread here. This black thread and this red thread, for example, they are thicker than just the normal white thread. So after not struggling, but just having to punch more holes in it just to widen the ones that were already put in it, it just made it a little easier to go around once with the thread and not have to feel like I'm doing everything twice, pretty much, because I don't have a machine to do it. So it's all done by hand. But this white thread did stitch in a lot easier because of its smaller diameter. Anyways, the holsters, I think they look okay. Not too bad. A little bit of some marks here and there just from moving and handling them and stuff like that, but they're going to be inside the waistband, and I don't think my friend is necessarily looking for perfect beauty on the exterior of these holsters. I mean, yeah, it's obviously not, messed up for anything like that, but since they're both inside the waistband, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Any small little cosmetic blemish like this, these marks here were on the leather, so just part of the leather. So for now, Marshall Zukov signing out on the 1911 holsters.